Hey, what's up everybody, how's it going? It's Burke, aka Dansg08 here, and I thought I'd do a hangout video for you guys because it's been about 2, maybe 3 months since I last did one, so I thought it was about time because there's some stuff that's built up and I think it's worth talking about. So without much further ado, let me go straight into it. I'll start with the gaming related stuff because that's what most of you guys are here for, the channel, Final Fantasy, all that kind of thing. So let's begin with the hot topic of Final Fantasy 15. So I had a pretty good turnaround of Final Fantasy 15 actually. I managed to do it in about 4 or 5 weeks, which isn't too bad considering I spent like 3 weeks in the UK where I didn't get to do any recording. So I actually recorded the entire game in less than 2 weeks, which is probably a record for me in terms of Final Fantasy games. Maybe only Lightning Returns was quicker, and that's because I was trying to be really quick with the movie. But yeah, the main playthrough is done. I shared my thoughts on the game, all that kind of thing, but there's a lot of work to do in the post game, and there's also the movie version that I want to make. So a lot of you guys who have probably seen the commentary playthrough are not interested in the movie version, and it's probably not going to get that great views until maybe the marathon edition is put out. So the episodic stuff is unlikely to get that much attention, but it's one of these things that I have to, like, personally, I feel like I need to have like a full playlist of Final Fantasy movies because I've done so many of them in the past and they've all done well for me, and I feel like they can kind of feed off each other. So even though I'm a bit late into the party, it's like 3 months now since release, I think. So I'm a bit behind, but I feel like if I can get the full movie out there, then it'll be a nice addition to the channel, and maybe through the success of the other movies, I might be able to get some traffic on it, and it'll end up being a nice little bonus thing for me. And well, at the end of the day, it's been a while since I made a movie version of a game, so it's been fun for me to edit. It's been a different kind of challenge because I've kind of missed a little bit of that. You know, editing and doing the camera work in the games and all that kind of thing is still fun. So every now and again, it's good to dive back into that world. So that's what I've been doing with Final Fantasy 15 at the moment. As a result of this, I've not been able to make any progress with the post-game, and I know a lot of you guys want to see the post-game. Apparently there's some very difficult dungeons and there's some very interesting things, and I will be getting to that, but at the moment the priority is going to be the movie version. I want to get that done and dusted as soon as possible. So I'm trying to, you know, whatever free time I do get, I'm trying my best to work on the movie, and we'll see how it goes from here on out. With regards to Final Fantasy 15, I'm just reading what I've written here so I don't miss anything. There's the whole DLC thing. So those of you guys that have played the game or that have watched the playthrough will know that there's some issues with the game, and there's going to be some... Okay, come on cat, come on cat. You want to say hi? Yeah, she's a bit of a naughty one. Okay, she's being a bit of a poser right now. Okay, so Coco the cat's made her little appearance, and now I can continue with what I was going to say, which was the DLC stuff. Right, so the DLC stuff that I wanted to mention was the fact that there's some episodic content coming out to expand on some of the main character stories. I think it's episode Gladio that's coming out first, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, write in the comments or I'll annotate it in. But there's some episodic stuff for Gladio. It's probably, I'm assuming, related to the bit in the game where he kind of just disappears and he runs off to do something and we have no idea where he's gone. So it's probably related to that. And there's also a Chapter 13 patch coming up that's going to improve things there, because Chapter 13 was a bit of a fail in my eyes. Even though some people enjoyed it, I think the majority is probably right on this one, because if Square Enix are releasing a patch for it, then obviously they too feel that it was a bit below par. So with the addition of the patch and this episodic content, there's more stuff to come for Final Fantasy 15 in terms of story as well. But from what I know, the first true kind of episodic content coming out is at the end of March. And this puts it at about 6 weeks ahead of what I'm actually recording right now. So this gives me time to continue with the movie version up until that point. So what I've kind of constructed in my head with regards to Final Fantasy 15 is to push on with the movie version. And by the time I get to around Chapter 13, I'm hoping that patch would have been released by then. So then I'll be able to have a movie version that has all of the nice extra content in it. What would be nice is if I could have the episodic content as well with Gladio and Prompto. I think probably each character will get one kind of episodic little kind of extra bonus DLC thing. But if I could have included those in the story, that would have been cool. But I mean, the first one alone is already 6 weeks away, and I want to kind of be done and dusted with the movie version of Final Fantasy 15 as soon as possible. I don't want it to take like a year to finish while I'm still waiting for these DLCs. So yeah. Okay, so what this means with regard to Final Fantasy 15 is that I'm going to be continuing the movie version for now. I will be working in the extra DLC stuff when it appears. If there's a Chapter 13 patch, I'll be playing through Chapter 13 again most probably, and that'll be uploaded as well. But in terms of the post game, that's probably going to have to wait for a little while, because I'm more interested in the movie and in the DLC in the short term, because the post game, that kind of stretches out. It's difficult for me to edit, because let's say I spend, I don't know, 30 hours on the post game, 40 hours on the post game, but I only really have to show, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 hours of it. There's a lot of editing to do in between and that kind of thing. So post game is always very difficult for me. And maybe by then the views will have kind of picked up a little bit, and there'll be more people kind of that have watched the playthrough and they're ready for the post game. So the post game is going to take a little bit of time to arrive. So if you're waiting for that and you wanted it to happen like very soon, then I apologize. But for now, there are some other things that I'm going to be working on. So aside from the Final Fantasy 15 movie version, what I want to do in terms of commentary stuff is a game that's not Final Fantasy related, because I don't know if you ever kind of looked into the playlists on the channel, but yes, there's a ton of Final Fantasy games, but there's also plenty of other games that are not Final Fantasy. So, you know, to list a few, there's Uncharted, there's Metal Gear Solid, which is already like 5-6 games in and of itself. There's Tomb Raider, there's Bioshock. I don't know, I've played Journey on there. You know, there's plenty of other games that are not, but there's Watch Dogs. There's plenty of other games that are not Final Fantasy related on there. And with the marathon of Final Fantasy 13, which was like 96 episodes, and then Final Fantasy 9, and then Final Fantasy 15, I've done all of these in a very short space of time. And while there's plenty of people on the channel that love Final Fantasy, which is always nice, it always has decent support. I personally, in terms of an enjoyment type thing, I like to diversify every now and again. So what this means is that I did a poll on Twitter for my Twitter followers to vote for which game they wanted me to play. I put up a short list of The Last Guardian, Watch Dogs 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Bioshock 2. Those are the 4 games that were on my to play list or to upload list that I was most interested in playing first. And it was a very tight race between The Last Guardian and Tomb Raider, and Rise of the Tomb Raider won. So what this means is that my next commentary series is going to be Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is a game I actually played when I was sick like 4 months ago, something like that. And I had an absolute blast playing it. But because I was ill, my voice was completely gone. I had no chance to record it, but I had like a free weekend where I was in bed. So I was like, let me just play through, a new game for a change, because I don't get to do that very often. So Rise of the Tomb Raider is a really, really good game. If you've not watched any of my Tomb Raider stuff before, maybe you can go ahead and watch the first Tomb Raider series that's on the channel. So yeah, it's a really great game. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it, especially if you like the first Tomb Raider. I think it's better than the first Tomb Raider. And when I was finished, I was comparing it to Uncharted 4, and I reckon it's almost as good as Uncharted 4. So that's pretty high praise, considering Uncharted 4 was was one of the best games of last year. So yeah, next game coming up is going to be Rise of the Tomb Raider. And then after that, because these games are short, they're not like Final Fantasy where they take like 60, 70, 80, 100 episodes to complete. Rise of the Tomb Raider is probably going to take 30 episodes maximum to finish. So once that's done, that will leave me some more time, and I will likely move on to The Last Guardian, because they were so close, and I've always had a massive interest in the games like Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and Last Guardian. And I've watched a lot of like video essays and critiques and that kind of stuff about Shadow of the Colossus and Eco, but I've never actually played those games. And because they're not available as a remaster on the PS4, I figured the best opportunity would be to play The Last Guardian first, and if I end up really enjoying it, then maybe I'll find a way to emulate Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, because that's like a trio that I would love to have on the channel one day. But I feel like I should make a start with The Last Guardian, since it's the newest game and it's available on the PS4. So that's what's going to happen. So just in terms of what to expect in the coming months, Final Fantasy 15 movie, Final Fantasy 15 DLC, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and The Last Guardian, and that should already take me through like the next 3-4 months, because while all this is happening, I still have work stuff going on, and that's going to take me into summertime. And once we hit summertime, there's usually no kind of major releases, anything like that. Work tends to die down a little bit around the summer, and I get a little bit more free time. So maybe I won't take like July and August off like I did last year. Maybe I will, not as frequently as normally, but I will continue to upload videos during that time period, and maybe we'll get stuck into Final Fantasy 13 too during that time, or maybe the post game of Final Fantasy 15. We'll have to see. So yeah, that is what to expect from the channel going forward. And the next part is going to be talking about like what I've been up to in terms of work, because as you guys know, My day job is filmmaking and directing, and I've been trying to make like advancements in that field, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've been up to since early December. So that's part 2, and if you're willing to continue watching, then I will see you guys in a second. In terms of work and life, it's been a very interesting past few months. I mean, there's been some really good things happening, and there's been kind of a lot of psychologically difficult things happening. So we'll start with the good, and I'll kind of try to keep it chronological so you guys know what I've been up to since about early December. The 29th of November, I went off to the US for the first time. I filmed 3 different episodes of a TV show out there. It's called SciTech Voyager, and it's for Turkish national TV. There's a channel coming out called TRT World, and they're going to be hopefully airing the episodes in the coming months and coming years. I don't know, because there's 26 episodes, so I don't know what their schedule is going to be for it. But none of them have aired yet, and I can't really share any footage with you. I might show you some behind the scenes stuff, some photos of what I was up to while I was out there. So I ended up going to Phoenix, LA, San Francisco, Boston, and Minnesota, and it was absolutely brilliant. I loved all of the places. I mean, I'm going to be honest and say Minnesota was a place where I was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of a bit meh. I wasn't really excited about going to Minnesota, but once I got there and kind of we were driving around town, we were shooting, all that kind of stuff, it was a really cool place. I really loved it. So yeah, America was a blast. You know, love the people, love the food. Love the diversity. I mean, you know, one minute we were in Phoenix where there's cactuses and shit, and then, you know, off to LA and then San Francisco, and then suddenly you're in Boston. It's much more kind of, you know, city-like. It was cold and grey. It was different. So yeah, I had a really good time. I was a little bit skeptical because I was thinking, you know, Trump had just been elected. It was a bit of a weird time. I mean, I'm going there. I've entered from Turkey. I've got a beard. My cameraman, my friend who's coming with me, he's a bit more darker skinned than I am, has a little bit of a beard. I'm like, is it going to get a bit weird? But everyone was super nice. Like everywhere I went, everyone was so helpful. You know, really cooperative, really nice, smiling faces. So yeah, had a really good time. Really enjoyed myself out in the US. So yeah, that was that took me through like the early part of December. And then I spent 2 weeks back home where I was working like a maniac on Final Fantasy 15. And then come end of the year, I went back to London to be with my family for the New Year period. And also to do one other thing, which is something I'm going to talk about right now. Make sure I haven't skipped anything. No. Okay, so while I was back in the UK, one of the things I wanted to do is to shoot a short documentary by myself. So normally when it comes to filmmaking projects, you need to have a few people kind of working with you, you know, a cameraman, sound man, all this kind of stuff. But every now and again, something happens which is like so unique and so interesting that even if you don't have those options, you don't have a budget, you don't have any friends in the filmmaking world. Like in the UK, I don't have any filmmaking friends. All of my contacts and all my filmmaking friends are out in Istanbul. So an opportunity arose where a follower of my channel actually messaged me like maybe 4 months ago, something like that. A guy called Toby Ott, and we've kind of become friends since then. He's a really great guy. And he messaged me to say that he was born blind, and it was through my kind of commentary videos that he was able to enjoy certain games. Like he was already a gaming fan, but like Final Fantasy 9, for example, where I'd read the narrations and that kind of thing, he really enjoyed that, and he just sent me like a thank you message for doing that kind of stuff. And it was really humbling. Like I really kind of, it was one of the most unique messages that I've gotten in a long time. And we started to, you know, have a little bit of a back and forwards with emails and stuff. But then it dawned on me that like, holy shit, this is really interesting. Like we're talking about a guy who's never seen anything before, who loves video games, and he plays video games as well. And I was thinking to myself, like, how is that possible? Like how are you even playing these games? He's like, oh yeah, I play Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy X. I've been Every on my own before and stuff like this. I was like, come on, man, this is crazy. Like this needs to be documented. I want to meet this guy and find out his story. So yeah, we kind of arranged a date, and I said like, I'm going to come down. I'm going to interview you. We're going to film you playing some games and that kind of thing. Is that okay? He was really happy to help, and his family is really nice as well. So yeah, part of my trip back home to London was to be able to go and meet Toby, and to film a short documentary about him. And that's exactly what I did. So I went on like the 17th of January, something like that. and spent like half a day at his house, kind of filming him doing his thing, talking to him, asking him questions about his passion for video games and that kind of stuff, and just it was a really good day, to be honest. And from that, I started to do my editing, started to bring out an entire episode. So it was like this whole one-man band thing where I filmed it. You know, I was the sound man, I was the cameraman, I was the lighting man, I was the editor, all this kind of crap. I kind of tried to colour it as best as I could as well, a bit of grading, that kind of thing. I'm nowhere near an expert with that kind of stuff, but I did my best. And basically, I ended up with this little short documentary, and it turned out pretty well, actually. It turned out better than I was expecting, because I really didn't have a lot of time, because I was going back to the UK, and it was a bit difficult for me and Toby to both have a day where we were both free to shoot this. So considering how little time I had, considering I did it on my own, I feel like it turned out pretty well. So I started to show it to some family, to some friends, to some industry contacts that I had that I knew could give a more professional opinion about what I'd done. And in general, everyone like really found the story interesting. So I was like, you know what? I mean, at first it was just like a total kind of passion project where I was like, I don't really care where it ends up. I'll probably just upload it to my YouTube channel and that'll be that. It would just be a little bit of, you know, at least a more hands-on experience, because directing for me, since I started doing a bit more commercial stuff, has kind of been a bit more kind of the conventional stuff that you'd see in movies and poses where you're kind of sitting behind a monitor and just looking at the monitor and saying a few things here and there. But this was kind of hands-on, it's proper filmmaking, you know, the camera in your hand, you know, you're doing everything yourself, so it was kind of nice. But what's going to happen with this documentary is that I'm trying to see if there's anyone that's interested in airing this in some form, or maybe giving me some financial backing to turn it from a short form into a long form documentary, because I already have like a second half of this documentary planned, but these guys are out in the US, so it was going to be impossible for me to fund that myself. I don't have that kind of money to fly myself out to the US, get accommodation, travel, film these guys and all that kind of thing all on my own. So I've entered it into a couple of like small festivals to see if anyone would be interested in it. Tried to reach some TV outlets to see if anyone's interested. Reached out to some very big like online video distributors to see if anyone's interested in it and that kind of thing. So it's very fresh at the moment, but I'm trying to see if anyone's going to try and pick up the story or help me expand it. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, so where can I see this documentary? How can I watch it? At the moment, there is only one way you can watch it, and this is going to sound like a shameless plug, but it is what it is. I have to do it. If you remember, like maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago, something like that, I set up a Patreon, and one of the difficult things for me about Patreon was what can I offer people that would be worth them giving me any kind of funding like every month. And I was thinking, well, you know, you just upload YouTube videos of like video games. I mean, I felt a bit guilty about kind of getting people to pledge, but what I ended up doing was for the like highest tier of Patreon support, the thing that I did was to give people exclusive access to certain videos that were going to end up on the channel or be public at some point, but I wanted them to get like an exclusive sneak peek. And this was like the perfect opportunity for me to do that. So what I did was I uploaded a rough version to Patreon, and all of my top tier patrons can watch it right now, and they can offer me feedback and we can chat about it and that kind of thing. But eventually that video will either be available on YouTube or some other public platform if anyone else ends up actually going for it and agreeing to commission it or distribute it in some way. So one way or another, you guys are going to be able to watch it. I'm going to keep you guys posted. But if you want to watch it right now and see what it's all about, then I'm afraid you're going to have to sign up to Patreon and support the channel, because it's something that came from the channel. Is from, you know, a fan of the channel who reached out to me. We talk about video games, we talk a lot about Final Fantasy, so even though it's actually something to do with my own world, which is like, you know, filmmaking, directing, it very much kind of crosses over with my YouTube stuff. So in that sense, it's nice, and I feel like it's something that hopefully my patrons would have enjoyed seeing on their feed. So yeah, that's how you can see the documentary, but I will keep you guys informed. Obviously, you know, this isn't like, I personally, if I was watching this video, I wouldn't like go on Patreon right away and give money to be able to watch it. I wouldn't advise doing that. I'm just letting you guys know that technically at the moment that's the only way you can do it. But I'm pretty sure is you guys can just wait for like a few weeks or a few months until it all becomes clear, and then you can watch it for free at some point. So yeah, that's that. That's kind of been the main thing. It's been the trip to the US. It's been the documentary that I've shot. and I'm kind of working on a few other things at the same time. But yeah, that's the main thing. I'm heading off to Belarus in 6 days. It's gonna be my first time in Belarus. I've never really been to that part of Europe before, but I'm gonna head there. Gonna film the last episode of this TV series, SciTech Voyager, that I mentioned before, and after that project is over. So unless I manage to land another job where I get to travel the world and shoot stuff, that might be the end of my traveling for a little while. But you know, it's been good while it lasted. I ended up going to Holland, I ended up going to the US, and I'm going to end up going to Belarus. So, you know, that wasn't too bad. And well, it was a series of firsts for me. I'd never been to any of those countries before, so it was pretty good. So I think that is it for now. That's some work stuff. That's the YouTube stuff. That's all of the stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned with the channel. If you're not following me on Twitter, you can always follow me there. I'm very active on Twitter. I try to talk to everybody that I can, try to share stuff about what's going on, etc., etc. And yeah, just stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching. Take care.